Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
Hello, everyone. This is Roger Chen from University of San Francisco Center for Business Studies and Innovation, Asia Pacific. Welcome to join our interview program. We want to thank you for the support.
All right. Thank you, Roger. Thank you for inviting me to this session. My background, I grew up in India and came here for my master's in the early 80s in computer science, and then moved to, and that was at Virginia Tech on the East Coast. I then got my first job at Intel. I went to a college in India called BITS Pilani, which is considered to be India's #1 private university for science and engineering. Intel was like the dream company. I was fortunate to get a job there. So about 10 years into Intel journey, you're surrounded by a lot of entrepreneurs here in Silicon Valley. And, I decided to, begin my own journey with a company called Sierra Atlantic. And, that grew to be a fairly substantial size company, about 2,500 employees worldwide over a 17-year period. And, through the course of that, we raised capital from some of the Sandal Road companies, venture funds. So that's kind of my background as a tech entrepreneur. And I've also been spending considerable time in the nonprofit sector starting 2010-11. Both here in the US and also in India. And a good part of my time also goes into working with tech startups, mostly young first-time founders, helping them build their companies, mostly as an early investor, angel investor, but sometimes I get more actively involved with them, serving on the boards and all that.
Discussion topic: how our startup worked with a large partner.
What are some of the lessons you learned, or the best practices you learned to work with very important strategic partner like Oracle, which I think is very valuable for other startup companies as well?
I think one thing that we have to keep in mind is, as large as each of these companies is, they're also always on the watch, worried about their place in the market, and they have several competitors. So at each point, something becomes more strategic to them than a lot of other things, right? For instance, right now, Google, one could argue, is very focused on defending their turf with the search business, because that's being challenged by what OpenAI is doing, right?
Yeah.
And so, are there things that you can do in that space that somehow help them sort of compete better? For us, it was with Oracle specifically at the time, and earlier with Microsoft, actually had a similar relationship. But Microsoft was not as big into enterprise, at least back then. So they were not as, that's a strategic decision I had to make. While it helped us get some credibility because of the Microsoft, we built something around what is called OLE, object linking and embedding back then. And so they took us into they actually had our, people demo within their booth at the large trade shows. With Oracle, at that time, Oracle was putting a big emphasis on, they were competing with companies like called Power Builder, PowerSoft, Power Builder. Not many people may know what that is today, but these are like back then third generation languages to help develop your applications faster. And they were, the market leader, and Oracle was very concerned about it. And, so we gave them some tools to migrate from that Power Builder to the Oracle platform. And so it's a matter of sort of finding, the timing is very important. So they took us into the marketplace, and again, very similar things. Subsequently, they licensed the technology from us for some of their own internal, applications. So I guess, it's finding what is the most is kind of top of mind for the CEO of one of these companies, right? And if you actually have an offering, that can sort of help them achieve whatever their objective is, because this is all public information. Well, and now, I mean, these days it's even more public as to what these companies are doing, and so my sense is, with each one of these players, I mean, most of these large companies are constantly on the lookout for where competition is coming from, and who can replace them and all of that. So by and large, there is always an opportunity out there.
That's great. Actually, you really kind of strongly advocate this kind of win-win approach to help the large partners to improve their business.
Yeah.
How do you balance between working with this giant or being trumped or crushed by the giant? How do you balance that as you dance with the elephant?
Yeah. So again, make no mistake, you have to control your destiny. Don't, these sort of avenues of finding a partner and doing something with them, I think those are all things that can help you get your critical mass more quickly if you do it right. But at the end of the day, you have your product, your idea, and you obviously something that you started with, and getting those early wins and letting your customers speak. So there's no substitute for all of that. Absolutely not. These are the avenues I'm talking about are, important to help scale and maybe get to that credibility early on, if you can find that avenue. So it may or may not work for everybody, but at some point or the other, my sense is there will be enough of those opportunities if you're building a company, especially in my case, over a pretty long time period, 17 years. And you could say that I was one of those slow entrepreneurs to get things done. But, staying in the business for 17 years is also not easy. And so hopefully I've learned a few more lessons there. Yeah.
Thank you for watching.